Most people, when they start doing any type of Kundalini work, most of them are learning a modality. But what happened for me was I actually had a Kundalini awakening 6 years before I even started doing these Kundalini activations. And I didn't even really know it. You know?
Just wanted to ask you, you were aware or not?
I wasn't aware of it. What happened was I was really nervous. I was supposed to be recording for a app actually by Mind Valley called Sovana. And I was really scared. I had like stage fright of the voice. And I was like, oh, this is weird because I've had stage fright of being in front of the camera, talking in front of groups, even groups of a small table of 5 people at dinner, even with a group of friends. Like I had fright of that, like expressing my emotion. I mean, my opinions, my emotions, my thoughts, my vulnerability. It was very uncomfortable for me. I'm much better one-on-one, having deep dives. I'm, originally at my core, part of my core essence is like an introvert, but there's another aspect of me that is also very much an extrovert. So I'm kind of in between, but I learned to be in between through all this spiritual work that I've done, and through a lot of teachers that pushed me to like open up, pushed me to be more out there in the world, and to connect with more groups, But anyways, like with the Kundalini awakening, it happened when I started I was afraid of being recorded by my voice. And the person that was there to facilitate this recording was like, well, you feel very confident with doing healing. So why don't we move you into a healing modality? You do that. And then after we do that, then we'll move you back into recording what you just did. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So I start doing that. And through that experience, I start to work on him doing all these channeling this energy into his field. As I did, all of a sudden, maybe 15 minutes into the session, this ball of light, and my eyes are closed, and this ball of light comes flying down almost like a comet or a shooting star, boom, right into my crown chakra. And it felt as physical as a basketball or like a soccer ball or football. In Europe, you guys call that. And it just it falls into my head, and it's very solid. And it was this bright light, and it goes straight into my root chakra and into my sacral chakra. And then this big ball expands the ball of light in my root. And I could feel it. And all of a sudden it shoots up into my heart chakra. And all of a sudden tears shot down my eyes. And they weren't tears with emotion. They were just tears that shot down my eyes. And I was like, oh my God. And then I had this vision that was given to me. And it was some past trauma, some past sexual trauma that I had been repressed or suppressed in my memory that I didn't remember visually. And on an intuitive level, I knew that something had happened to me from a place of a knowing, but I didn't have any other reference points that something actually happened to me until this moment. And so as I'm healing this person, I was like, oh my God, what is happening to me? What is this energy? Like, I know this energy is of light. It's good. It feels right, but it's bringing up some trauma of something when I was a kid. Why is it happening right now while I'm working with somebody else? And I kind of was like, okay, I got to put this off to the side because I'm working on somebody else. And this healing is about this person, not about me. So I had to put this off to the side. I went and continued to finish the healing modality. The ball of light and this energy that rose my Kundalini, which I didn't know was with me. I was there and it was staying there. And it went back into my sacral and root chakra, and I held it in my belly, my womb. And then we're done with the healing. He sits down, and I just was like, oh my God. And because I knew him, I was like, can I share something very intimate with you? So I share what happened. And he was like, whoa, that's wild. That's crazy. I was like, I know. And I was like, I don't think I can do the recording today. Like, I have to go. And then for a full year, this energy kept on moving up and down my chakras, giving me the deepest education of my chakras and healing me and giving me visions and knowings and feelings. And I was taken back in time and was clearing me of all this trauma from my childhood. And what happened was it trained me to hold space for me like I do for others. And I had never done that before to this level or degree, but I trusted this lit energy and this light. And through it, it was my Kundalini. It was educating me. And I learned to listen to it through all my senses because I already had my psychic abilities or intuitive senses that were awakened as a child. But I didn't have names for that then. When I started on my spiritual path proactively learning healing modalities, it was through learning that that help me to understand our different psychic senses or different intuitive senses. I use those words because they're used synonymously. And, so it was the Kundalini that taught me this because I was aware of listening. So I listened and I paid attention to all my senses. And I was like, wow, this energy is here to help me to evolve and help me to break free of what was binding me from my past. And so I thought it was very interesting that happened on the day that I'm supposed to be on this big app.
Yes.
And being presented more to the world. And I had so much fear about being presented to the world because I'm much more better of like blending in and being a part of a group than standing out on my own. And so it was like a 4-year journey of this energy. So the first year it was so bright and strong. And then the next year, it just kept on changing my life. My life was being like stripped away. All the things that weren't working for me anymore started to deconstruct and start to dissolve, or the things that weren't used in my life, like patterns, the way I interacted with people or the people I invited in my life either would just start to fade out of my life, or something would be almost kind of taken away. And I would go through that loss and that grief, but knew that it was necessary, that it was creating space for me in my life. And so I did have a Kundalini awakening. So through it, I went through ups and downs of emotion, and I held space for myself because unlike everybody else, most people, when they have a Kundalini awakening and it comes in this form of these ups and downs of emotion, and you're getting like flashbacks and memories and a lot of things that don't make sense. For me, it kind of made sense, but it was only because I had so much training in my life in terms of energy healings and being a spiritual teacher and learning about coaching too, that I was like, it was giving me a whole education that I've never gotten from any spiritual teacher or any coach. It was all coming from within me, and this energy was educating me. And the Kundalini is called it's the divine intelligence. It's your highest wisdom that's beyond your mind, beyond your comprehension. So this part of ourselves was teaching me that. And so I was just listening and following its guidance and doing it. And then applying the things I learned outside of it, too. And as I was holding space for myself, I was like, I still went through it was hard. It wasn't easy, it was major challenges in my life. And I'd had many challenges before in my life, but this was like really confronting my fears, really confronting aspects of myself that I did not like, or love, or, even hated, from when I was a kid. It helped me to look at it. And I kept on just listening to it. And so during COVID, I ended up burning out massively, energetically, mentally, emotionally. And it was part of my Kundalini awakening that was leading me there, because it was giving me indications like, hey, let go of some of these people in your life. It's not a balanced, healthy relationship. And they're still awesome, but they're not very awesome to be so close in your life. Or these habits aren't so great. So you need to revisit those habits, and maybe it's time for you to change these habits so you can elevate to the next level of your evolution, And so what I did was during COVID, I ended up, and this is all about my Kundalini awakening, by the way. So this is 4 years into a Kundalini awakening. I ended up totally finding, when people go on spiritual pilgrimages to India or to Bali or their eat, pray, love kind of experience. Mine was in LA in my home. I decided that was my sanctuary, and that was where I was, my inner temple. And I was going to go within and listen to myself and listen to spirit, source, universe, and use all my tools of energy healing, meditation, prayer, affirmations, how I manifest things. And I was going to apply all those tools. And I was like, it's time to confront my insecurities of feeling insecure, truly deeply insecure. It's time to face not feeling good enough. It's time for me to face lack mentality, even financial lack mentality, all these things. I'm going to face all these things in my kind of cave, and I'm going to be a hermit. So I ended up cutting off all the voices in my life, all the positive ones, all my amazing friends in my life that are part of like the Mind Valley community and more. And then also all the people that are in my life that that weren't very beneficial for me in my life, that were kind of like negative influences, And so I quieted it down. I only talked to 5 people. And those 5 people were just every once in a while, like my mom and my sisters, and like 2 friends who lived in closest proximity, just in case like I needed help or something and they just needed to know I'm okay. And so for like 2.5 years, I just was in self-isolation, and I just meditated, prayed, and used all these things. And I went within, and I created this space for the Kundalini to show up in my life in the most rawest, purest form that I think I could have. Because it came to me, the Kundalini finally came to me through another person and told me I needed to not only use this to transform me, but to help transform others. So anyway, so that's my Kundalini awakening experience. Was
wow.
Yeah.